The distress call. Commander Maya Lin stood at the central observation deck of Helios Station, watching the binary stars of the Proxima Centauri system perform their celestial dance. The larger orange star and its smaller red companion cast a warm glow across the station's crystalline biodomes, where 20,000 colonists lived in peaceful harmony. Beautiful morning, isn't it? Dr. Elias Chen joined her, offering a steaming cup of coffee. Every morning is beautiful when you're orbiting twin stars, Maya replied, accepting the drink. As Chief Operations Officer of humanity's farthest outpost, she had grown accustomed to the spectacular views, but they never ceased to amaze her. Helios Station represented everything humanity had become in the 3 centuries since the Great Peace: collaborative, knowledge-seeking, and deliberately non-militaristic. The last major conflict had ended 287 years ago, and subsequent generations had been raised without understanding the concept of war. The station's defensive capabilities consisted of little more than asteroid deflectors and radiation shields. The agricultural dome reports a 12% increase in crop yields, Elias said, scrolling through his datapad. Dr. Patel's modified hydroponics system is exceeding expectations. Maya nodded with satisfaction. Perfect timing. The colonial expansion to the surface is ahead of schedule, and a shrill alarm cut through their conversation. Red emergency lights bathed the observation deck, and Maya's wrist communicator flashed urgently. Commander Lin, report to command immediately, came the voice of her security chief. Maya and Elias exchanged worried glances before rushing toward the central elevator. In command, screens displayed a cluster of unidentified vessels approaching rapidly from beyond the system's edge. "What are we looking at, Thomas?" Maya asked, taking her position at the central console. Security Chief Thomas Rivera's face was grim. 17 vessels, Commander. Unknown configuration, not matching any registered human or diplomatic ally signatures. They're ignoring all hails. Time to intercept. 15 minutes. They're coming in fast. Maya studied the tactical display. The approaching ships moved with precision, their formation unmistakably military. Deploy the sensor drones. I want a better look at what we're dealing with. Drones deployed, announced the sensor operator. Visual contact in 30 seconds. The command center fell silent as the first images appeared on the main screen. The alien vessels were sleek and predatory, their dark hulls covered with what appeared to be weapon emplacements. Nothing about their design suggested peaceful intentions. Broadcast on all frequencies, Maya ordered. Unknown vessels, this is Commander Maya Lin of Helios Station. We are a civilian scientific outpost. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. Silence. They're receiving our transmission but not responding, Thomas reported. Commander, they're charging weapons. A chill ran down Maya's spine. Sound general alert. Begin civilian evacuation to the shelter cores. Throughout the station, warning sirens wailed as civilians abandoned their daily routines. Parents gathered children, researchers secured valuable data, and medical staff prepared emergency protocols. It had been generations since humanity had faced hostility, and the station's residents moved with confusion rather than practiced efficiency. First ship entering weapons range, Thomas announced, his voice tense. A beam of intense blue energy lanced from the lead vessel, striking one of the sensor drones. The drone disintegrated instantly. They're targeting our communications array, shouted the tactical officer as a second beam sliced through the station's main antenna. Maya gripped the command rail. Emergency protocols. Launch the defensive drones. Launching defense drones, Thomas confirmed, but his expression remained grim. The station's 12 defense drones were designed to deflect small asteroids or disable smuggling vessels, not to engage a military fleet. The drones didn't even reach the alien formation before being systematically destroyed by precise weapon fire. They know exactly what they're doing, Elias whispered. Targeting our communications first, then our defenses. The question is why, Maya replied. We have nothing of strategic value. We're scientists, not soldiers. On the tactical display, the alien fleet spread out, surrounding the station. Their weapons continued charging. "Commander," Thomas said quietly, "at current trajectory, they'll be in position to fire on the station's core in approximately 5 minutes. Our shields won't withstand their weapons." 20,000 lives. Maya felt the weight of that responsibility pressing down on her. Options. The emergency shuttles could evacuate maybe 1,000 people to the planetary surface, Elias offered. "What about the colonial defense fleet?" Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. "Nearest patrol is 3 days away at maximum speed," Thomas confirmed. Maya closed her eyes briefly, centering herself. There was one option, a protocol so old that most of her crew wouldn't even recognize its name. "Dr. Chen, come with me," she ordered, heading toward her private office. Once inside, she sealed the door and approached a wall panel that appeared identical to all others in the room. She pressed her palm against it, and a hidden scanner verified her identity. "Commander Lin recognized," announced the computer system. "Access granted." A small compartment opened, revealing an ancient device unlike the station's sleek technology. It was angular, made of dull metal, with the insignia of Earth's old military forces engraved on its surface. "Is that what I think it is?" Elias asked, eyes wide. Maya nodded gravely. "The Lazarus Protocol. Each outpost commander inherits this responsibility, though we pray never to use it." The device was a quantum communicator designed to broadcast on frequencies unused for centuries, frequencies that would be detected by systems long dormant but never decommissioned. During the Great Peace, Maya explained as she activated the device, humanity didn't destroy all its weapons. The wisest among our ancestors knew that peace required both goodwill and strength, so they created insurance policies like this one. The device hummed to life, its display illuminating with a simple message: "Authorization required." Maya placed her thumb on the scanner and recited words memorized during her command training. "Helios Station Commander Maya Lin. Authorization Lazarus Omega 79. We face extinction. The sleeping guardians must wake." The device pulsed once, then began transmitting a powerful signal that pierced through subspace, seeking receivers that hadn't been active in nearly 3 centuries. "What happens now?" Elias asked. "Now," Maya said, watching the alien fleet continue its approach on her monitor, "we hope they're still listening." Deep within Saturn's rings, hidden among the ice and rock fragments, an automated station detected the Lazarus signal. Systems that had maintained minimum power for centuries suddenly surged to full capacity. Throughout the facility, lights activated and dormant computers reinitialized. "Emergency Protocol Lazarus activated," announced the artificial intelligence that had waited patiently for this moment. "Authentication verified. Threat assessment critical. Beginning revival procedures." In massive underground hangars on Mars, beneath the peaceful human settlements, armored doors unsealed for the first time in generations. On Europa and Titan, similar facilities stirred to life. Within Earth's moon, the largest complex of all began powering up systems that most of humanity had forgotten existed. Back on Helios Station, the alien vessels had completed their encirclement. The lead ship's main weapon reached full charge, targeting the station's vulnerable central hub. 90 seconds until they're in optimal firing position, Thomas reported, his voice remarkably steady despite the dire circumstances. Maya returned to the command center, the ancient device still transmitting its desperate plea. "Status of civilian evacuation. Shelters at 87% capacity," Elias reported. "But those shelters won't withstand direct hits." "I know," Maya replied softly. She had done everything possible. Now their fate rested with ghosts from humanity's past. The tactical officer suddenly straightened. "Commander, new contacts detected." Maya's heart leaped. "Identification unknown, but they're massive, emerging from multiple hyperspace points simultaneously." On the main view screen, space itself seemed to tear open as enormous vessels materialized around the alien fleet. They were angular, heavily armored behemoths, bearing the markings of Earth's long-dormant defense forces. Each was at least 10 times larger than the alien ships and bristling with weapon systems that made the attackers' armaments look primitive by comparison. A transmission cut through all communication channels. Alien vessels, this is General Alexander Volkov of the Earth Defense Force. You have 60 seconds to withdraw from human space or be destroyed. The alien ships frantically adjusted their positions, weapons redirecting toward the newcomers. Their formation, so disciplined moments before, now showed signs of confusion. "Who are they?" whispered one of the junior officers, staring at the human warships with a mixture of awe and fear. Maya watched as the screen displayed more and more vessels emerging from hyperspace, not just warships but fighter carriers, dreadnoughts, and support craft. An entire military fleet that no living human had ever seen deployed. "They're the reason humanity survived to build stations like ours," she answered quietly. "The guardians our ancestors left sleeping, hoping we'd never need to wake them again." The alien commander's response came through. "This territory now belongs to the Zyrax Imperium. Submit or be eradicated." General Volkov's reply was brief. "Time's up." The ancient warships opened fire. The awakening Titans. General Alexander Volkov stood on the bridge of the EDF Thermopylae, his weathered face illuminated by tactical displays. 3 centuries in cryostasis had not dulled his military instincts. If anything, the long sleep had preserved them in their sharpest form. "Status report," he commanded, voice steady despite having been awakened from stasis less than 2 hours ago. "Fleet deployment at 87%, General," reported his executive officer. "Commander Zhang, all vessels combat ready. The Zyrax ships are attempting to regroup." Volkov studied the tactical display. The Zyrax fleet, 17 vessels that had seemed formidable to the defenseless station, looked like toys compared to the human warships now surrounding them. The Thermopylae alone was over 2 kilometers long, a dreadnought designed during humanity's most technologically advanced military era. "Target their engines first," Volkov ordered. "I want prisoners for interrogation." The human fleet moved with practiced precision, deploying in attack formations that had been perfected during wars fought before Helios Station was even conceived. Beam weapons sliced through the Zyrax ship shields as if they were tissue paper. Squadrons of fighters launched from carrier bays, swarming around the alien vessels like angry hornets. "Sir, 3 enemy ships destroyed," Commander Zhang reported. 4 disabled. The remainder are attempting to retreat. "Block their escape vectors," Volkov commanded. "Deploy the gravity nets." From specialized vessels on the fleet's perimeter, massive fields of distorted spacetime unfolded, preventing the Zyrax ships from jumping to hyperspace. Trapped and outgunned, the alien fleet's resistance crumbled within minutes. "All enemy vessels neutralized," General Zhang announced. "We have captives being transported to detention facilities now." Volkov nodded, satisfied with the efficiency of his forces. Despite 3 centuries of inactivity, the Earth Defense Force had performed flawlessly, a testament to their rigorous training and the foresight of those who had established Project Sentinel. "Open a channel to Helios Station," he ordered. Commander Maya Lin's face appeared on the view screen, her expression a mixture of relief and uncertainty. "General Volkov, on behalf of everyone aboard Helios Station, thank you for responding to our distress call." "That's what we're here for, Commander," Volkov replied. "The Lazarus Protocol functioned exactly as designed. Your station is secure now. I have 20,000 civilians who would very much like to know what just happened," Maya said, "including myself. The historical records about Project Sentinel are limited. That was intentional," Volkov explained. "Request permission to come aboard with my senior staff. There is much to discuss." An hour later, Volkov stood in Helios Station's main conference room, facing Maya and her senior leadership team. The contrast between the two groups was striking. Volkov's officers wore crisp military uniforms with insignia from a bygone era, while the station personnel were dressed in the simple, functional attire of civilian administrators and scientists. Project Sentinel was humanity's insurance policy, Volkov began, his deep voice filling the room. When the Great Peace was established 287 years ago, most of Earth's military forces were indeed disbanded. But a faction within the leadership understood that peace undefended is merely vulnerability disguised as virtue. He activated a holographic display showing hidden facilities throughout the solar system. 50,000 personnel volunteered for cryogenic stasis: soldiers, engineers, medical staff, and commanders. We were to remain dormant until needed, watching over humanity while it pursued its peaceful development. But how could we not know about this? Asked Dr. Chen. A secret of this magnitude. The knowledge was preserved, Volkov countered. Passed from station commander to station commander. From president to president. The Lazarus Protocol exists on every major human installation, though most believed it a ceremonial relic rather than a functioning system. Maya nodded slowly. Most of us did. I was told it was symbolic, a reminder of darker times, not an actual call for help. The secrecy was necessary, said Commander Zhang. If knowledge of Earth's dormant military might have remained common, other species might have viewed humanity as a threat despite our peaceful intentions. Speaking of other species, Maya said, "Who are the Ziracs? We've never encountered them before." Volkov gestured to his intelligence officer, who stepped forward. "We've interrogated several captives. The Ziracs Imperium is an expansionist power from beyond the Perseus Arm. They've been observing humanity for decades, assessing our defenses, or lack thereof. They concluded we were easy prey," Volkov continued, "a species that had forgotten how to fight. Their attack on this station was to be the first of many, testing our response before launching a full-scale invasion of human space." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Generations of humans had grown up believing the galaxy was fundamentally cooperative, that the age of interstellar conflict was over. "What happens now?" Maya finally asked. "That," Volkov said, "is a question for both our peoples to answer together. My forces have secured this region of space. The Ziracs fleet has been neutralized, and we're broadcasting warnings that will deter further incursions for the immediate future. But long-term decisions must be made." Over the next several days, as news of the attack and the mysterious defenders spread throughout human space, emergency sessions of the Planetary Council were convened. Holographic representatives from Earth and all major colonies gathered to meet with Volkov and the newly awakened leadership of the Earth Defense Force. The council chamber on Helios Station became the center of the most momentous discussion in recent human history. Maya found herself seated beside Volkov as they addressed the assembled representatives. "For generations, we have believed that humanity had evolved beyond warfare," said Councillor Diaz of Earth. "That our peaceful intentions would be recognized and respected. This attack challenges everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy." "With respect, Councillor," Volkov replied, "peace is not merely the absence of violence. It is the ability to defend that absence. My contemporaries understood this, which is why Project Sentinel was created. Reports continue to arrive from across human space as more Sentinel facilities activated. The true scope of the project became apparent, not just the 50,000 personnel in stasis, but hundreds of warships, defense platforms, and weapons systems that had been maintained in perfect readiness for 3 centuries. The Ziracs aren't the only threat, Volkov continued. Our interrogations reveal that several other expansionist powers have been observing humanity, waiting for the right moment to strike. Our peaceful development has been protected not by goodwill, but by uncertainty about our true capabilities. "So you're suggesting we abandon 3 centuries of progress?" asked Councillor Okafor from the Mars colony. "Return to militarism and suspicion?" "Not at all," Maya interjected, surprising herself with her certainty. "We can maintain everything we've built, our scientific achievements, our cooperative society, our dedication to knowledge and growth. But we must also acknowledge that the galaxy contains threats we cannot wish away. The debate continued for days. Throughout human settlements, people watched the proceedings with a mixture of fear and fascination. Many had never conceived of warfare as anything but a historical curiosity. Now they were confronted with both its reality and the knowledge that their ancestors had secretly prepared for it. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels across the galaxy hummed with activity. Species that had previously viewed humanity as a minor, peaceful civilization suddenly reassessed their positions. Historical records of humanity's earlier military prowess, long dismissed as exaggeration, were hastily reviewed. "We're receiving communication requests from 27 different governments," reported the Council's diplomatic officer, "including several that have previously declined relations with us." Volkov nodded knowingly. They've been reminded that humanity's peaceful nature is a choice, not a necessity. In a private meeting with Maya, Volkov shared intelligence that hadn't been presented to the Council. "The Xerax are retreating from all projected invasion vectors. Our show of force has accomplished what diplomacy alone could not." "And the sleeping Guardians?" Maya asked. "Will you return to stasis?" Volkov gazed out at the stars. "Some will. Others will remain active, training a new generation to maintain vigilance. Project Sentinel was never meant to fight humanity's battles indefinitely, only to ensure humanity survived long enough to remember how to protect itself." 3 months after the attack on Helios Station, the Planetary Council reached its decision. A new accord was established, the Pax Humanitas. Humanity would maintain its commitment to peaceful cooperation and scientific advancement, but it would also develop a modern defense force, built upon the foundation of Project Sentinel's awakened personnel and technologies. General Volkov, once a relic of humanity's martial past, became the first commander of the Unified Defense Forces. Under his guidance, the ancient warships were integrated with modern technology, and a new generation of volunteers began training alongside veterans from another age. On the anniversary of the attack, a memorial was unveiled on Helios Station. It depicted 2 figures, a scientist and a soldier, standing side by side. The inscription read, "Peace through wisdom, security through vigilance." Maya Lin, promoted to sector administrator, stood beside Volkov at the ceremony. "Do you think we found the right balance?" she asked him quietly. The old general watched as young cadets in new uniforms mingled with scientists and civilians. "Balance is never static, Administrator. But yes, I believe humanity has remembered an essential truth, that peace is not the absence of strength, but its wisest application." In the depths of space, the Thermopylae and its sister ships maintained their patrols. Some returned to hidden bases, their crews entering stasis once more. Others remained active, a visible reminder that humanity's extended hand of friendship was backed by a closed fist of formidable power. The message spread throughout the galaxy. Humanity valued peace above all else, and would defend that value with every means at its disposal. The sleeping giants had awakened, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, watching to see what this reborn power would do next. Maya often found herself at the observation deck, watching the binary stars of Proxima Centauri. But now, among the civilian transports and research vessels, she could occasionally glimpse the angular silhouette of a patrol cruiser, a guardian from humanity's past, ensuring its future. Retriclaude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.